to expedite, do we got anything? Anybody know a faster way? Is that what we're looking at?
The only thing I was thinking of, you know, I'm used to if you pay someone to do a job, they do the job, and we didn't need so many eyes looking at it. But I understand the reasoning now. I think it's fine. I don't think there's much overlap in time, so I don't have any problem with it.
Anything else on the permit? I mean, that's,
I think the timing Ryan talked to me about, you usually get them done much quicker than that, but if for some reason you need that amount of time, you get that amount of time. I think I got everything I had cleared up.
okay. Yeah, because if we can do something that's faster, I mean, that's who we work for, the public, so we'd be glad to expedite whatever we can do. If there's something we need to change, we can do it. By the vote of 3.
Okay. No other discussion. Item 12, continued discussion of the Mountain Land Associated Government's pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan. Is there anything new besides what you shared last month?
So, motion to continue.
We'll continue that item as well. Second. So we need to have a motion and a vote for that, or can we just continue it?
The motion's there. We have a vote.
Okay. Motion's there. We have a first. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I second.
You did the first. You did?
I did it first.
Oh, yeah,
I made the motion.
Okay, I heard on this side, so you vote
Okay.
first, second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Now we're voting.
Aye.
All ayes.
All ayes. It has to be continued.
Discussion of Amendment A to 8.25 home occupant code, possible adoption by council.
He's on such a roll, too.
Is it Amendment B or Amendment A?
So I believe the one we've been working on is the Amendment A, and we have the other one, which is that correct? And then you got home occupation, and then you also have home occupation, office, and business.
Not considered
The home occupations is what the council looked at the end of last year and decided on for the home-based businesses, and then you were discussing what you kind of call small businesses, and that's what the amendment is dealing with.
Okay, so
Amendment
the
A.
red line version would be the A, or
But
the,
the same as the addendum.
Okay,
If you want to
yeah,
put an
yeah.
A behind
All
both,
right.
that's fine.
So for us guys that didn't keep up with that, John's red line is what we're looking at, Amendment A. Okay.
So planning's got, as we know, has passed this on to us. They've looked at it, they've, at this point, passed on to us. I know John has redlined some things in here that actually look pretty good. I don't, John, if there's other changes since you've written this
No,
that you have, or?
No.
And I read through it today, and nothing stood out to me. Let me get my copy here. I got a couple of question marks, I guess. So on number 8, I'm just going to go down to some of my question mark for clarity probably purposes, but if we go to item number 8, all applicants are required to provide daily business hours, the number of employees at the home occupation location, and expected customer traffic load. You know, the last time that, you know, that particular one for me might want to be tightened up a little bit. I didn't know we're going to have a lot of employees going to homes. I think it says about 8 times through here about keeping the characteristic of the home and neighborhood and everything else. I'd like to hear other people's opinion on item number 8.
I almost think that one could be addressed with the application.
And it does say that we can put different things to each applicant, and just because this guy gets it, this guy doesn't necessarily get it, because it's on an individual basis. Isn't that kind of how each business
Yeah, and
applicant?
I think you want them to tell you. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
they're going to show up with their hat in their hand when they ask you for this. And that's gonna be the best time to get the answers and to get them all on paper, and then hold their feet to the fire from that point on, so that we don't have them changing the focus down the road. We don't want them screwing up the neighborhood.
Well, and I agree 100%. To me, this particular, the number of employees, how many number of employees? I mean, they can have 50.
Well, I think John addresses that later. He says no employees somewhere, as I recall.
Again, those are just
Remark?
throwouts,
Yeah.
right? I don't even know that I would agree with them all right now myself.
And that's kind of why I brought it up. So I've got a few question marks, and I'm not necessarily against or for, except for this is not very clear to me of what could that area be abused very easily by residents?
Well, I think that's what, this is for planning. This is for planning to say, in other words, I'm a business guy. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say, this is what I wanna do. And they're gonna ask me, well, how many employees are you planning on having there? I'm gonna have a secretary and myself, or whatever that number is, it doesn't matter. And at that point in time, if he says, I'm gonna have a secretary, an estimator, and I'm gonna have 3 guys that are gonna be running back and forth, then that's too many. You know, how many vehicles are you gonna have? Show me the vehicles, give me pictures of the vehicles. The idea is to have a process where all of us get to look at it and decide, is that what we want for our neighbor?
And I agree with the concept and what you're saying. I think the reality could be different after someone finds the little loopholes they want to move around in, and then.
So you're saying put a cap on the employees?
For me, like I said earlier, I like
I
practice, and I can
don't have a
understand.
problem with that, I'm just not sure where you want to go.
Right, and I'm more or less just comment. I'd like to see. I don't know if I want to see a bunch of employees going to someone's house and then who says how many employees? Well, is that up to? It's up to planning.
It's up to planning.
And planning has a view, and we do know it can be different for all of them. It almost is setting up a problem because I might have 5 or 6 employees. Okay, that works because they're only there. I don't know. It gives too much discretion to either a group that could lead into a problem for neighbors.
So what do you think the cap should be?
I don't like employees coming to people's houses in a residential area for business.
Yeah.
That's my cap. I think if they have employees, they can
I've
meet
got-
them, they can do whatever.
I've got a
they
couple
try
of
to-
customers who are in Park City. One of them is a photographer. And he runs his business out of his house right in Park City. And he's got a business guy there who's, I would say, is just a manager, and he's also got a photographer there. And they come to his house every day, but, I mean, you don't even know they're there. So at some point, I mean, I'm not sure, we definitely don't want, I mean, we heard about the landscape company that got bigger and was people in there every morning. Well, none of us want that.
But I mean, they didn't have to do that technically, because they could, the employees could take the vehicles home, the employees could meet at, say,
Stop.
the one stop, yeah, exactly, they didn't have to meet at the house. That's the one thing that I knew that some of the other contractors in the area are getting bigger. They've now got 5 or 6 trucks running.
Right, that's
from
what
their
we
place.
don't want.
Exactly, and I'm saying, they don't have to meet at his house. They can meet at
Well, that's how my
standard.
business operates too, just like you said. I mean, everybody, there's 5 trucks out there running around that I gotta pay for, and they're all going to, they start somewhere every day, and they ain't at my house. I don't want them there either.
They should start at the supply house.
They start
So you
wherever.
don't, you don't want the supplies coming to the guy's house
Well, we don't
either.
really want them there. We don't make any money when they're there. We want them on the job, we want them on the job 8 hours,
Yeah.
and we don't want them coming to the shop. We don't want to pay them to drive. I mean, there's a lot of business sense here. But like I was talking about the photographer, that's pretty unobtrusive. You don't even know that person's there. So if you got, I mean, I think somebody to run the books should be okay. And I don't know if there's one more beyond that or not. That'd be something we'd have to talk about.
Well, and, we've got immediate family issues that are probably part of business, which is taken care of in this section. I mean, I don't know, so I want to bring this up tonight, as far as an issue for me, which would be number 8. Without spending and delivering all our time on the 8, I'm just going to go through it. I have just a couple more, and then, for the most part, I thought it was a great document.
Another thing with employees coming, it's not much different with an employee coming to your business than when you have a home-run business that customers are coming to. It's got the same kind of people coming into the neighborhood. But with the customers coming to the home, or people dropping off kids to a preschool, you gotta kind of think of that in the same matter.
The preschool for sure, because that was early done, and there's a lot of parking, and there's 2 preschools, and sometimes they're twice a year, little extravaganzas, get a lot of cars around, for sure.
We have haircut places,
Dog grooming.
dog grooming,
That's
which
a
is
lot
a
more
conditional
intrusive
use,
than
but
2
that was
employees
different.
showing up.
Right, and that was in the beginning too.
Yeah, and that's a conditional use, the dog grooming, but we also, we have nails,
Massage.
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 But, so in my mind, I'm
They're all
thinking, okay,
strangers
you got a
coming to the
massage
neighborhood and
person with
everything.
1 or 2 people come in, you got a nail person, 1 or 2 people come in, but if you have a construction company, you have other company, you might have 5 or 6 people coming in trucks. That's where my mind's at, not the
That's not what we-
massage, not the
Yeah, we're not.
hairdresser. It's just not that's where my mind's at.
And I can see you setting a cap in a way of how many employees can come to a home, but also there are probably gonna be fewer employees come to the home than there are people that have customers.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I had people drop plans off at my house all the time, my employees, had 21 guys, they didn't come to my house.
Well, and that's why I said, I mean, I don't care how many employees a business has, it's the part on that was coming to the house, it didn't say anything about coming to the house, so I don't.
Right now, I'm probably in violation, people are dropping plans off at my house all the time.
We ought to send them to that.
That's why it ought to be industrial.
Or I mean, GDA, sorry. Sorry.
I was waiting for the joke.
Check-ins ain't the way.
Okay, here's one more from me.
Flashback.
The review according to 82503 will be by 4 anonymous volunteer citizens appointed at the request of the mayor. So I could get all excited and point 4 great people that I think would be great, but they may or may not want to do it. With the advice and consent of the council, which I think is a good part of, if we can get the 4 and that part, 2 of which will be home occupation permit holders and 2 citizens at large. The review conclusion will be provided to the mayor to determine the resolution. That paragraph to me is not too clear as far as I get we get 4 people, but then the review conclusion will be provided to the mayor to determine a resolution. So is that saying that I would be the final arbiter, or the final decision maker after the findings come to me? I don't, the.
Sorry, where you at?
I would be on this, page 8, it'd be 82505, the second paragraph.
Like the 3rd page, top of the 3rd page.
Yeah.
So you're thinking you'd prefer that to be the council? Or would
Well,
you-
about the 4, so we've talked about it, if we could have the 4, great, but we have problems getting people on our planning, we have problems getting on the Board of Adjustment. If there were some issues, how long would it take to get the panel put together? Would the homeowner want to wait, not wait? These are just things I thought of. I don't think that's not necessarily a bad idea as much as implementing it and having it work effectively. That's kind of why I brought that up.
Can I ask a question on that? Kind of the same idea. It seems like we have a code, and if they're in violation, they are. If they aren't, they aren't. And I don't know why we would need, help me understand why we would need a 4-person group to tell us that.
Well, that's a valid point. I mean, if this process works, and they've told us what they're gonna do, and they've changed it, then you're right, it's over. Then, I guess the question then becomes, do we take their license? How do we respond? That would be and we may not need the 4-person, then it becomes the council saying, this guy's, I mean, just like we just did a few minutes ago, what are we gonna do about Scott Kohler? Here's the question, this is the first example. We've got to make a decision at that point in time. Does he lose his home business? Does he, or how are we going to address this? Do we bring him in and have him and find out what he's willing to do? How does he respond? I mean, that's all it is. It's got to be a subjective process. And
Exactly.
the same way we're talking about Scott is how we're going to talk about me if it's me.
Well, I think from my process, I kind of was, John, that we kind of almost have this, except for it's in a little more discretion. We got a written complaint, boom, he investigates it, he comes back and tells us, do you want me to write a letter, not write a letter? Yeah, write a letter, then he sends a letter on. So in this particular paragraph, to me, I think it's kind of addressed. I don't know how you guys feel on that.
So you're just saying it should just come before the council as a complaint and the council decides?
Rather than a form, I'm
you
trying to
do with
simplify it and
everything
make it faster because I can see it taking a lot of time to get that
So
done.
is it a
To get
verbal
that, to
complaint
make
or-
that happen.
Well, we've already kind of gone through that for written, so. But we've had 2 verbals today, that they can't, yeah. Come on, quit smiling, Eric.
It's awesome, ain't it?
So, and I have, I think, one more that I'll bring up, and that's kind of mine, would be on this last page, under 82506, vehicles compared to personal vehicles stored or parked in Danielstown will be allowed. Allowed in our strips, allowed for sale signs, allowed in driveways, allowed where? Because our town's a big town. So I kind of have an issue with where they can have those things, because down at the corner, man, they start squeezing everything for sale, and then pretty soon, you know, I don't know, we need to have, for me, I would like to see a little more clarity on, I don't like the wording.
Well, I think if you look closer up there during the process, we as contractors or business owners are supposed to provide you pictures of the vehicles. So, and the quantity. And if it's not acceptable, it's not acceptable.
Okay, and I keep kind of forgetting that point, that Eric can make that call if they say, okay, I'm gonna park two vehicles.
Yeah, and if it's too big, I mean,
So Eric, how do you feel in planning with my scenario I'm throwing up and what we're just talking about here? Nothing, is it nothing? or
Too many or too big?
Both.
I mean, too many, I mean, we don't regulate how many cars are in your driveway.
No.
We surely don't regulate, I mean, big, if you're using it in a commercial vehicle, then I can see that's an issue, but they're gonna state that, like you said, what Brent says, they're gonna come in and say, I got 4 trucks. Well, if that changes, they gotta come back.
Okay, but I'm saying that 4, let's say us 4 didn't like the 4, we wanted 2. How do we get the planning to understand 2 versus, oh, yeah, 4 for you is good and 8 for you is good because they're small little electric ones and these are battery powered gas?
Well, that, and the numbers are an issue, we dealt with this with the home, with the,
Last whole year.
well, it's not even vehicles, it's residents, it's, number is always an issue. What makes 8 residents okay, but not 16? You know, we deal with the numbers all the time, and that leaves you open to a lawsuit. And so by having an appeal board that we're talking about, they have, if you have a way for them to appeal, then that takes one thing out of the court system. If there's no way to appeal a decision, I can shoot somebody and I can appeal. So there should be an appeal process.
Right, absolutely, and everyone has that afforded right, and everyone can do that.
If you don't do that, I can tell you which way the judges go.
But as far as parked in Danielstown, that just is so wide open to me. I mean,
It is, but that's what I'm saying. If suddenly a guy shows up here, well, I got 6 trucks, well, that doesn't fit in a residential zone according to the planning commission.
But I can park it on a town's right away because it's in the town?
Well, and that's why they go to the planning. That's why they go to the planning.
So the planner would say you can, okay, so they're gonna get a plot, whatever.
Eric's gonna say, where the hell are you gonna put, where the hell do you think you're gonna put these trucks? You don't have to, no, we can't do this.
But I think that we're running into that deck kind of scenario where
Yeah.
we don't have a clear definition. You got that gray area again, now you got one person's opinion against the other.
Yeah, but you're arguing residential character.
I know that. But I'm
Well,
just
that's gonna
saying-
come into play because as soon as you say, or the planning says forward work, and the neighbor says that's intrusive, well, I got permission from the town, but it's bugging him.
Right.
I just, yeah.
Yeah, we got the same thing. Is 4 hogs okay? Is it not?
Okay, I just wanted to voice my opinion on those are the three items that kind of stood out to me on this particular version, and I like, I mean, those are pretty small, and I like the version. Anybody else have any more comments with regards to this, or?
No, I understand your point, I agree.
And so, as we start through the red line, is that what we're talking about on red line?
Well, I just finished mine, I had 3. I guess John's red line's next, and he can
Okay.
kind of go over his version of what he was thinking, if you'd like. So, John, is there anything, you got
The first one is more just a rewording. I didn't mean to change anything there, but maybe reword things a little different.
So the problem I have with that one going right off is any business is not allowed. That says any business legally allowed in the state of Utah, and that's not the case for the town of Daniel. Any business is not allowed.
So any business legally allowed in the state of Utah,
May not be able to guess.
No.
May not be illegal in the town of Daniels.
Yeah, we're excluding a lot of.
so help me out. No
It says-
business shall be allowed which is not legal in the state
Right,
of
so if
Utah.
you're not legal, you definitely don't qualify, but any business is not allowed. In other words, if you have a manufacturing plant that's legal in the state of Utah, it's still not gonna be allowed in Daniels.
Okay.
And I read that to say any business that's allowed in the state of Utah is allowed.
So change any, how would you change that particular word?
Maybe just how you
Leave
add
it just
it.
how they had it?
And I think we beat that around in planning
No
also,
business shall be-
because any business definitely is not allowed in the town of Daniels. If you impact negatively, you will not be allowed.
Yeah, I think what you have there is probably better, but it just read kind of weird to me. It says, for the purpose of this, for the purpose of the chapter, the definition of a home occupation and business shall be as follows. No business shall be allowed which is not legal in the state of Utah. It kind of tells me what's not allowed, but it doesn't tell me what is allowed.
That's good, right? If you read that, no business is allowed.
No, we want to allow businesses. But maybe that's
Make
straining
it a
at
lot
gnats
easier
right
on all
now.
of us. We don't allow
Okay.
any business.
Well, that's a given. If it's not legal in the state of Utah, and we're in the state of Utah.
That's not a given. There's plenty out there
We're in the
operating
state
without
of Utah,
legal.
correct?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're operating without licenses all
Yeah,
over.
if it's not legal in the state of Utah, it's not legal here in
So-
Utah, in
So we
Daniel.
can get through this, just leave it how you had it, Eric?
I think that covered it. Brent, what's your feelings on that?
Now that I hear what you said, I see what you mean. And I'm not sure, and should follow the general plan of the town, that may or may not be good. I don't know what that means, so you may have to help me out there, Tom.
I think it means preserve the rural, the atmosphere, preserve the,
And I think that's what we all want.
And we do
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
general
none of us
plan.
want it
Yeah,
to
we
change,
do.
so I mean, if that's our general plan, I'm definitely on board with that, so.
Yeah, I like that. Should follow the general plan.
Okay.
They're not standalone
Yeah, I think
documents.
that's,
but it also says promote business in the general.
It does.
plan.
Okay, first page already
And
through, nice.
revenue, and yeah, it talks a bunch about it.
You're the council, we might have a totally different general plan.
yeah.
Well, we still have this code.
Yeah. Okay, so rolling over, the second page, is that where you're at, John?
Yeah,
Well, wait a minute, on 82503, we've left out on 82503-1, home occupations shall not alter the residential character of the premise. And it used to say, or unreasonably disturb the current level, or the level,
Peace and quiet in the neighborhood.
I said, you've got a current level of peace and quiet of the neighborhood.
I just got rid of unreasonably because
Yeah.
it's very subjective. You know, to me, it might be unreasonable, to you, it might not be.
Well, and
That's why you have a council.
that's what we're
Well,
planning, I think.
But playing that from the other side, the current level, if you allow it, you have already adjusted the current level. We talked about that on Ranch Drive. You put one car on there, it's affected it. So
You can clarify that, say it again.
if you put one business in the town, you've changed it. Doesn't matter. If you put one car on Ranch Drive, you've changed it.
How about
It's,
just
the current
disturb
level
the
has
peace?
been exceeded. By allowing one, you've exceeded the current level.
Unless you got rid of one.
That's true too.
Now, that's a lawyer coming out.
So maybe
Yeah.
get rid of current level too, current level of, and just say disturb the peace and quiet.
Well, and I think, the reason I think unreasonably is in there is so that they're able to, whoever they're at, the planning commission or the council, is deciding if that's reasonable or unreasonable. And on planning, 4. Takes 4 to pass. There's 4 people saying that's unreasonable versus,
Yeah, I mean, that's.
And this will all be looked at in their application
And this is
process
in the
before they
application.
get.
why their hat's in their hand and they're trying to get the
Yeah, that's
license.
it, that's when you got them.
And so once that's in writing, then you have that document and that's what it is.
Not that big a deal to me either way.
So home occupations shall not alter the residential character of the premise or unreasonably disturb the peace and quiet of the neighborhood. or detract from the residential character of the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think that's-
like
And we
that.
talked about that a lot, because we
I
like,
think
who
that's
makes that
stage, yeah.
determination? Is Eric, does who makes? And so that's why we put
Planning,
unreasonable in,
yeah.
thinking that that would be weighed against whoever they're,
So unreasonable is the bar scale of what the planning and or the council can weigh. That's,
right, whether you're gonna
that's
grant
the
a
tool.
license.
That's the
Yeah.
tool, the word.
Yeah,
There's lawsuit right there,
there is. There's, the whole thing is,
but it's fine for now.
It is, I mean,
the whole thing
let's
is.
face it, $100 you can sue anybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, if every code that's 5 minutes out of being done, it's already out of date when, the next day it's out of date, so.
Yeah,
In the green there, I just moved the vehicles left running up to number 1.
oh, yeah, okay.
Vehicles left running, or coming and going during, off-hour throughout the day would be an example of, great, yep.
so is that disturbing the peace if I leave my diesel running because it's cold in winter?
Could be to your neighbor.
Is it unreasonable?
Well, there's 100 of them running across the road, but.
Yep, like I said.
Yeah,
But you guys all want to go to work in the morning, right? So we put up with that.
Well, once again, I mean, as I'm coming back to what Brent was saying, not every one of these now that I'm kind of, I've got a pair of different classes on looking at, again, I'll get controls within that application process. But mine's going back to, is that application process, does it have parameters between you, is it you and or planning as the count?
It's the entire planning commission. Every one of these will go to the planning commission
And so that,
before they come to the council.
and then we'll get the recommendation just like anything else. And
And
then,
that's,
But I think you've got to be so careful with having it too vague that the council, or the commission, or the council is making decisions where a good old boy network could come through. And I think we've got to be really, really careful with that. Denying one and not denying another for essentially the same thing.
but I think in different neighborhoods, different things
it's
qualify.
gonna be,
There's no way you're gonna make this not subjective.
Well, yeah.
Every business is
But
different.
if you're up in Storm Haven, 2 vehicles might be too much if you're on a
exactly, that's the
quarter acre lot.
point.
But if
That's
you're out
what-
on 5 acres, maybe that's not unreasonable.
And you running your diesel in the morning across the street from the station there, ain't gonna be an issue.
No,
That's what I'm saying, the whole thing is
Especially
different
Yeah,
everywhere
it
we
has to be
go.
subjective.
That's why
Well,
the complaint-driven process comes in too from neighbors and
But nobody will sign it.
Yeah.
then it gets addressed and it gets hopefully resolved without a lawsuit.
yeah. Because like Brent says, they're not making money if you're at court.
No, you don't make money. Definitely don't want your guys in the spot.
Matter of fact, every time I've been to
Only
court,
the
I've lost
attorneys.
money.
Yeah.
Only attorneys make it.
so as far as that one, we just want to move on to anything else, or with regards to vehicles left running and coming and going during that? I guess once again, that can be handled by the full planning staff when they apply for their,
You know what, there's no reason not to leave that. They're not saying it is, it would be an example,
example, okay, right?
so
Okay. So to somebody, that could be an example, and it says it right in the document, that could be something.
that could be an example. It doesn't say it is, it says it could be.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, no, it does
They
say
said
would be.
would be.
We gotta change that to could.
Hurry up.
Would and
On
could,
number
in that sentence, would and could probably mean the same thing. Could. Okay, and here's where I read, home occupation business will be allowed only for homeowners living on the premise. I think that's, vehicles left running, okay, you just moved that up, so that takes care of that line item. Any- Does that sound good to everybody?
Yep.
Anybody have any other questions with regard to the rest of that page, Eric?
No, well, I think we're pretty good all the way down to number 11.
Okay.
Again, we're looking at, we crossed out substantially.
So not substantially restricted. Okay, so how do we accomplish what I was trying to say, because we don't want to restrict the residential
Right,
traffic?
and then like we said, 1 vehicle is a restriction. So
I
substantially, we put that in, we discussed this for quite a while. The reason we said substantially is, again, does it, pulling into the daycare, does that substantially alter that road? Dropping kids off in the morning?
Now, if a neighbor said
Now-
it would, then you have to,
Well, you have to weigh that. Pam tried to get out of her
Right.
driveway and there was a car parked there and she couldn't get out with her horse trailer. Did that substantially? To Pam, it was absolutely
Yeah,
substantial.
right, yeah.
So but to the commission, they have to decide that. Is it substantially or is it not?
Is it a daily occurrence?
Yeah.
this is where,
Exactly.
The drop off is, I don't know if
It's
the
not
trailer is,
substantial.
but
But if it's like every morning at 8 o'clock, you got that same person blocked in front, keeping that horse trailer, then it becomes.
Yeah, that's an issue.
well, and here again, this is a great one to bring up. Because now you got a horse trailer going all the way across the road, using the frontage across the road to turn out. Is that substantial? Can you not turn your horse trailer on the whole road, pleasure side? Does you have to get into the frontage on the other property? Is that substantially affecting that?
Oh, you're saying
We're not,
that,
that's not happening. I live right next to Pam and we're not going onto their property turning horse trailers in. And I have big horse trailers.
Well, she was the one that said it was blocking her getting out. They're
Well,
parked out
well,
dropping
they
kids.
do, they do,
So they're using the frontage.
yes, but we're not, the horse trailers aren't blocking them or going into their property. But we turn around, we use the whole road.
Right, so I'm
Yeah.
saying that person on that property has the right to use that frontage as much as you do to pull your trailer out. So if that's an issue,
Yeah, but
you have
you're
to
talking
stand-
about that the car was blocking her driveway.
no,
Oh,
across the road, she's trying to pull her trailer out, across the road, there's a car dropping off a kid, she can't make the
okay,
turn.
I misunderstood.
So who is substantially? To Pam, it's substantially. That car wasn't there before we allowed the
Well, yeah,
daycare.
I know, but we're paying, we live on that road, and so
Right.
these people are coming and going
And
all
so
day
that's why
long.
I'm saying we left
So,
substantially
yeah,
in, so
yeah,
that
good.
somebody has to decide
Good,
what
good.
substantially
Yes.
is. Versus, does it restrict, because it definitely restricted.
well, and I guess for me, some comfort is, it's not one person said substantially, it's the board, or at least three, coming to the same mental conclusion. So not one guy's being hung out and being subjective about it, it's at least the board.
It's a board.
I think then it would come down to, in that ordinance with the trailer though, now she's technically breaking laws by going out, crossing the other lane of traffic, right?
We're talking about businesses here.
yeah.
And in my opinion, substantially doesn't add anything here.
It's just a gray
If
area.
if traffic's restricted, that means you're stopped, you're congested, whatever, but I don't think it's worth getting too much more involved with it.
Because when you get into legal with that, then you got both lawyers arguing with
Yeah.
substantially.
So you're both saying home
And the
occupation
judge will
shall
decide
not,
what substantially.
That is his decision. And I think you need it in there because if something happens one time, is that substantial? You'll have people in here upset because something happened once.
Well, that's what they're
Absolutely.
saying.
That is not
If you take
substantial.
it out though, it'll say
Now,
shall not.
You have someone
restrict. So You're saying
saying,
you can't restrict the
on
road.
a daily
That's what I'm
basis,
saying,
this is
on the car
happening to me,
restrict,
you may say that's substantial.
That
So
bars.
then they need to pull in their
It's-
driveway to drop that kid off.
It doesn't matter whether the word's in there or not, guys.
It's gonna be the same result.
It's the same result. So whatever way you want it, let's just do it that way. Move
Oh,
on.
I don't think it's either way. I read that totally different if it's not in there.
Well, I
Shall
know.
not restrict.
I know, so you do, so either way, I'm fine.
we're moving on.
How do you get around not?
Leave
Shall
it
not
there, yeah,
restrict.
it's fine.
So are we putting it in or not?
I think it's in.
It's in.
It's in.
For now, yep. Okay, we have the application for a home occupation permit. So
Yeah,
shall
that
be
needs-
attached.
that needs to be there.
Okay, that'd be 82504. So we're gonna leave for in there and cross out fours, right? We're gonna keep the line?
Right.
Okay. No more than equivalent of 15 or 20%, 15 or 20% of the ground floor area of the dwelling is devoted to the home occupation. So there's, I think planning obviously came up with 25, and John, you probably felt 15 or 20, any reason behind?
I feel the quarter was a lot. I really carefully read through that document Eric found a long time ago that was put together by that survey of home occupations across the country. And they are much more restrictive than this.
there is a federal, in other words, I have to deduct from my square footage for my taxes. And I can't remember that number, but I can find it out. And I don't remember whether I think it was under 25%. But that's all the thing will allow you for a home business. So, because they don't want you deducting your
As
whole.
far as the IRS and
For the
deductions.
IRS, yeah, and we probably should make that a line with whatever it is, I don't even know what it is.
20%?
Accountant actually depending on what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, 15 or 20, whatever the number is.
Yeah, anyway.
Does anybody here feel different than 50? I'm fine with 15 and 20, Abbott, or is there a reason why 25 was there, Eric?
That's what I wrote in originally.
Oh, that's what you wrote in originally.
Yeah, and I thought that's what we were able to write off, but I can't remember the number exactly, so. I don't know that it really matters. I mean, for instance, at my house, I've got just one office, and it's probably 12 by 14, you know, out of a 2,400 square foot house.
Yeah,
I think that's probably typical, and I'm trying to think of other, now that photographer that I mentioned in Park City, he had an office, and then he had two,
Studios.
he had probably 25% or maybe more, because he had areas set up with lighting to do photography. So he had an office, plus there was 2 other big rooms. So there's gonna be different uses, and I don't know how, I mean, we'd have to go through some of the other uses to make sure that we're not stepping on some
Well,
of
and
those.
maybe we want to step on some of those.
I wish I could keep planning to 25% of my house. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
no kidding.
That'd be
Does
awesome.
it take it over?
That's like the senators and the healthcare people. That doesn't matter.
Shelley moved my company out of the office, it's now the planning office.
Again, this one's going to be so hard to police. What
Yeah,
are you
well,
gonna
how are we
Where
ever
does that
gonna
apply?
know?
You're 21%, you're out.
Yeah, what's the point?
I mean,
on that one.
so-
I guess you're only gonna
If
know
from the
that.
outside we can't tell, does
No,
it matter?
So,
No.
Could happen in an inspection if more people came in, but that's only an inspection under certain circumstances.
You
Yeah,
gotta
Yeah,
know when
Yeah.
you're in.
and then you gather everything together when the inspectors come, put it in
Right.
the corner.
So what do you want to do with that then?
I like 15 or 20.
I can deal with that too, so it's all relevant.
Okay, I
But
don't think it
again,
matters.
it's
I mean,
not, I don't either.
I think it's,
So what are you going?
I'm just circling 15 or 20 just to keep everything that we're going to keep because.
okay.
15 or 20? You're
Let's
not
go
picking
20.
one?
Let's just go 20.
Let's just go 20.
Say
I
pick
agree
one.
with John, let's just do 21.
20 it is.
20 it is. Okay.
All right, now here's the last page, it's got a lot of blue lines. You can, so was things just dropped, added, or?
These are just conclusions that I kind of came up with from reading that document that Eric passed out. And some of them might fit, some of them probably don't fit. Maybe I ought to just read through them or I can quickly read through them and say, yeah, no.
Well, I'm looking how close we've been here, a year, and we've got down to pretty much all the corrections on this page down to this page. So we're pretty darn close.
Yeah,
to getting
this is amazing.
So should
pretty
we
close.
just go with what we got and not look at this blue stuff?
No, let's look at it.
Okay,
It's on there, let's look at it.
okay.
Do you guys have an extra copy of the blue stuff?
We have an older copy, I think. 'cause we
I
don't
have
that.
one you can use.
Yeah, they don't have John's copy.
Okay, so we'll start with the item number 1 under I. The number of visitors to the small business must be that of a single household in the neighborhood. The number of visitors to the small business must be that of a single household.
You couldn't allow any daycare under that rule. That lets them out.
That would do the daycare, would that
And
come?
also hair.
Yeah, I think that lets
Massage.
out.
Well, but we have that other
That's fine.
code. We have the small business code versus this is kind of the next
Oh,
one.
okay,
So I think that small business one will take care of both those particular
okay,
issues.
okay.
Yeah.
I got 8 kids.
Did you have the red
Now,
line?
what about
Red?
your plan? I've got one.
Okay.
I downloaded it off the
Okay.
internet.
So the number of visitors,
You were saying about people bringing plants. That's a very valid.
Yeah, dropping off plans.
the neighbor, okay. So do we want to make any kind of statement or change or leave the item number 1?
My grandkids were.
What it would-
Do away with it? John, Casey?
What's that?
We're talking about just doing away with item number 1 under I.
Okay.
No business, small business must be done in a single household, we don't know what that single household is. Okay, 2, the deliveries to the residents for the home business are restricted to those by the U.S. Postal Service or commercial carriers such as FedEx and UPS.
So we have the one that's doing the emergency packs, Red Rock. It's doing the emergency packs. It has, they're delivering, they have supplies brought in, their material and that we have licensed in the town. That one comes, when I read that, I thought, these guys have. the
Delivery rights to come, or what,
They drop stuff off at the house and they sell them and they take them out and deliver them.
is the house a business for the company? Is that why they're coming in?
Yes.
Okay, so they're
And
coming
they're
in.
licensed with the town.
Okay, so they're coming in, loading up, and going out and doing their thing, and.
Well, they bring in raw material, they build
Assemble
the
it.
packs, and then they take them out.
So John, are you thinking that the goal is nothing bigger than their kind of trucks, or what? do you
Yeah,
think?
what the document got at was that you don't, it's a residential area.
We don't want semis.
The idea is not that you're bringing in big
Yeah.
things to store and stuff like that and then use.
In other words, I get, when I have light poles come, they'll come on a 40-foot flatbed or a 45. I definitely don't want that coming to my
USPS.
house.
Yeah,
That's what I think
You know?
he's
that's
saying.
what this is kind of getting at, I think.
Yeah,
Okay, so.
but I'm not sure what we're trying to, what we want to limit here.
Well, I think he's just saying that you just want a standard UPS FedEx truck.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's what I think.
So you're not saying which companies, you're saying the size.
Not the
of
company, but the
vehicle.
size
The
of the
size.
vehicle. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So could there, I've got a question mark, could you verbally make that a little cleaner?
Commercial carrier, drive a
And
diesel.
then you could get,
What
I
do you-
was gonna leave it alone, but.
So what you?
Thanks, Eric.
Sorry.
But because I know that UPS and FedEx have semis. that-
They do,
Yeah,
that's
FedEx
right.
Freight.
they
Yeah,
don't deliver to residential.
I kinda like leaving it like that, that's just fine in my opinion.
Leaving 2 as, leaving 1 or 2?
As far as the
Number
FedEx.
2.
Deliveries to the residents for the home business are restricted to those that U.S. Postal, so you like it just as that's worded?
But I think the difference there might be that someone like you're talking about, Eric, can still get their deliveries, but UPS doesn't carry a forklift around where they're
Right.
gonna unload a bunch of pallets and stuff. Is-
And they
Does
don't
that
have-
work?
They also don't have a pallet
Yeah.
jack.
And they have lift gates.
They have lift gates and, yeah.
Well, I'm
you-
just wondering what you're trying to avoid by this.
Yeah, that's really, let's.
The thing we're trying to avoid is like
The
you
40-foot
having your 40-foot
Yeah,
post. show
Right,
up
like the
or-
light poles, that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't limit.
that would never happen, I guess that's not a good example, but.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not gonna unload them and then take them somewhere else.
That's true, you're gonna load them back up.
We're back to not making money again. That ain't gonna work, so.
Maybe your home business was building log homes. You're not gonna be able to have the logs delivered to your house and
Right,
then load
right,
them up
yeah.
and haul them off to the home you're
Uh-oh.
building.
Didn't you cover that with storage?
We
area
probably leave
or-
it just the way it
I don't know,
is.
we have.
Storage area's out. We don't have any of that
We
don't
anymore.
have that.
Loads the logs, hand fills them, loads them back up and takes them out.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he
Bad
does.
example.
But I don't
He
think
can
it's,
do it, I know somebody else that might wanna do that.
Think of another one.
well, I don't think he has, how does he get them delivered to him? Just a truck? Off a
Just
semi?
roll them just off and they pile up and then they move them from the yard in.
I think we gotta think about whether that's a residential thing.
I have a problem with semis and doing that. I mean, I get all these things, and I think it could probably be worded better, but I understand the essence of that number 2, and I agree, we want to keep that, but maybe change the wording, just, because
What do you
the
think?
point, the
on
point is,
wording?
yeah, we just want, we want, you know, it's not a semi-unload, you know, all your snowmobiles in crates, so you can put them all together and take them back out. I mean, I don't know, I think semis on a consistent basis for a business is a bit much for a residential area.
Eric, what do you suggest?
I don't know, because that's a hard one. Again, I think that is probably addressed in the application.
Yeah, so we just leave it, I mean, the way
To
it's
me,
written.
to me, that's tough though, because someone can maybe do it and someone can't. And a committee's gonna decide whether, and I think.
Well, I was just trying to think of
black
the
and white.
instances you guys were talking about, that's the only one I can think of.
The big semi,
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the,
I mean, it's just not gonna happen.
Well, when I think about when I order things, I don't control who brings it.
Well, but they do. I mean,
It's not your business doing it.
They always,
You're
they
just
they
ordering
never
some
bring,
ground.
they never
Right,
bring the
they're
big
dropping
truck,
off
that goes to a
manufacturer.
distribution point,
Yeah.
and it's put into the smaller truck. That's why we specify those carriers.
Yeah,
How big was the truck that brought the sprayer?
I don't know, I just saw it on my porch.
Oh, did you? Okay. I sent it to a commercial area.
There you go, yeah.
and so that worked fine,
You know,
right?
there's a lot of companies that won't deliver big stuff to a residential
They won't do
address.
Well, they will for enhanced.
They won't even bring it.
Okay, so number 2 there, do you want to leave a question mark, leave it?
I recommend the
I don't
spirit
think it's
of
gonna
it.
be a huge issue.
Leave
I
it?
don't either, I don't think it's.
Let's leave it.
Leave it for now.
Leave it?
It becomes number 1, right?
So number 3, parking is limited to normal residential levels.
There we go. What is normal?
I like that, I like
My
what it's trying to
house is
say.
not normal.
It's the same as or
Off-street.
any of the other words
Hey,
we're
words
using.
we're using.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
significantly.
Parking is
Maybe we
limited to
just don't
normal
want it.
residential levels. Okay, so the large equipment that is used as residential or hobby is permitted, but.
What did you do with 3?
I'm just kind of reading it before I have it, just parking it. So, get back to 3, parking is limited to normal residential levels.
And I think, again, that's already addressed on changing the residential character.
Okay,
It might be.
it might be.
Okay, so 3 is
For now,
that.
we'll leave that. Or large equipment that is used as residential or hobby is permitted, but the equipment items must be stored indoors when not in use.
Okay, I have
Telling
issues
people
with
you can't
that.
have a hobby?
I have issues with that.
The whole thing is just certain
Yeah.
words, okay?
My large equipment.
5-acre farm and their equipment can't be outside.
Yeah.
No, no,
Back
that's
up.
not
That's the
what
way it
that
reads.
says.
Strike
Thi-
it.
This is for a home
For the business.
occupation office. It's
But the
not,
hobby has nothing to do with your business.
exactly.
Oh, so why is hobby included in a business?
It's saying that I have to park my backhoe inside.
No.
Read that number 4 to me.
I don't know what it's saying. I don't either.
Read number 4 to me, because I read that and I have
Large
to.
equipment that is used as a residential or hobby is permitted, but the equipment items must be stored indoors when not in use.
That doesn't
Used
apply.
as a
That's
hobby.
Tell somebody they gotta store
But it's
their
still gotta be
firewood
in use.
inside.
It's still gotta be, yeah, yeah.
Strike it.
I just think
I think
people
we're
who live
addressing
in the
that in
country
the-
I
with
think we-
Yeah, let's
big
pass on that one.
lots
Yeah,
want to have
strike
their
for it.
hobbies. That's
Okay.
why they have the big lots.
But maybe the idea was, do we care if someone has a lot of large equipment with their,
Well, I think we're going into
Business.
that on number 5. That's the very next
Large
one.
industrial.
oh, okay.
Okay, now I have my own, I have a skid steer that I'm mixing mulch for the next 4 years, so I
Well,
got the
I've
skid
got
steer
the
there.
same
and I'm
thing. I've got a skid steer that I do my driveway last year a lot, and my neighbor's driveways.
But aren't they referring to business, not personal use?
Well, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to clarify right now in this
Okay,
statement.
Well, then that's a problem, because I've got a business and I have a skid steer, so.
Exactly, I use my backhoe to unload.
So you're
Yeah,
saying my
and
neighbor
I
who
also,
doesn't
I've
have
got
a
a
business
mini
can
X
have
that
it, but
I
I
found
can't.
works really good for
Yeah.
stalls.
Yeah,
I've got concrete horse stalls.
yeah.
And the skid steer pushes everything to the back. So I want a big drainage bucket, works really good.
Okay, so that's not what we're trying to get at.
Okay,
What we're
okay.
trying to get at is an excavator who parks his grader and his dump truck and 3 backhoes in his front yard. That's what we're trying to get
You're
at.
going to
Not,
address
not,
that
I
in
got a
his
backhoe and a
equipment when
skid
he
steer.
applies.
Yeah.
But he may not be a business, he may have a business somewhere else and have a license some in another town and just.
That's what we're
stuff.
running, yeah, that's. we're
That,
not-
that's what we're getting at, not the
Yeah.
backhoe
You
thing.
can see the equipment being loaded and moved on a regular basis.
Well, that's his yard, they come and get it, move it here, take it,
Yeah.
bring it back here, park
A
it.
transfer
something else, and-
station.
Like you're using yours full-time pretty much at your house.
I'm sorry?
You're using your equipment pretty much full-time at your house as in your
Well,
personal.
no, I've got one mini X. I mean,
You'll take a good
equipment
job.
gets old, right? So I've got one mini X that I just keep at my house, and I bought the big drainage bucket for it, for scraping out all the stalls.
That's what I'm saying.
That's all I use
That's-
it for, yeah.
It'd be the same thing if he used it for cleaning his
So
stalls.
it's for private use.
Yeah.
That's for, yeah, I know a
So
lot of
it's
people
private
that
use.
has bobcats that are used
Well,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've got one Bobcat that all I use it for is snow. I don't let the guys take it, because.
So how do we make this work then?
Yeah, that's the hard
Are those
part.
I think it's all-
items used in a residential
I think it's
area?
all
I mean, what
titled.
is too much? But they are being
Everybody
used.
should have a backhoe and a skid
All I
steer
can hear,
and
all I
a
can hear is
tractor.
Tom.
Everybody in.
A farm is a business.
Backhoe.
Are we regulating
They
tractors?
don't have
I
the
know.
town should help
I
fund
know,
it.
I just hear Tom saying that. What are we
And I
doing?
understand that.
Goes on our
But there's a difference between a farm and then having those tractors and backhoes and everything lined up. and-
Why don't we look at it on the process, on the initial process?
Well, that's why, a lot of
In
that.
other words, they're gonna tell us what they've got.
Yeah.
Okay, so start, let me say, so all these things that are gonna get looked at the process, can we get an actual then list after we're all done with this?
We should be
Yeah,
asking them,
yeah,
what
that's the
equipment do
idea.
you have? Write it down on
We're
their
gonna have a
application.
list.
And what's acceptable, I got 20 pieces, okay, I only got 4 pieces, are both acceptable?
That's it,
Yeah.
that's
We
it.
don't
This is
do
what you
business,
said you're
but we
gonna
have a
do.
backhoe, and a backhoe
Well,
has
what I-
nothing to do with
yeah.
business.
Well, what I'm saying is, 2 people come in, one has more equipment than the other, they both are similar. Does this guy have the same right as this guy? I mean, from our documents, it says we can pick and choose for location area as far as what was appropriate.
You know,
But all, every one of us needs at least a backhoe in the yard to do the fence posts.
Exactly, everybody in this room's got that.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
Oh, it said well not in use. I use, when it's like business and use.
We gotta add that, don't worry about it.
That's amazing.
What if we put something solely for the business?
That's the parking lot.
Large equipment used solely for the business should not be stored.
Because that's gonna be that gray area.
Well,
that
there
we're
you
talking-
go.
But I'm just saying
I
that
agree.
Or non-agricultural.
I think that's one that we're gonna have always a gray area because we are agricultural and you're always gonna.
But
see
if it's
that.
ag, great, keep it. Who cares if you have a baler or swap? We're not getting at that.
Like
I
you said,
agree.
it's
That's not our
listed
plan.
out.
That's what that said.
It's listed out.
Large equipment, if it's.
Okay, so we're past this. We're trying to get something new.
Yeah,
I think it's
So
it's
you're crossing
listed out
out
on our
five?
first
What's
application.
that?
I don't know yet.
So,
I don't know how to do that one. I still.
I think
We can leave 1 or 2 and wrap up 1 or 2, I doubt
Perhaps
we're gonna
not
get a
used on the
vote
property
tonight.
for business purposes.
Say it
I
again.
don't know. I mean, you don't want the construction company working right there. You don't
What if we
want
require their equipment that they have their logo on it, or their business name or something that would distinguish what's personal?
But we wanted lots of people not to have their logos on their stuff.
No, but it
They'll
can't
already-
be, but then you know that it's not here.
Yeah, that definitely changes the residential setting.
That's what I'm saying.
Logos?
You know that it's on the piece of equipment, you know it's in their yard, you know it's not supposed to be there.
Not
I
a
just
bad
need
way to,
to
it's not a bad way to
solely
recognize
use
it.
It's isolating that equipment.
I can see it not working on the property for the business.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's trying to avoid, but I don't know how you word that and keep it okay for me to have my backhoe personally there.
What about equipment solely used for the business?
Yeah, I have an example of that.
Okay.
I have one wire pulling trailer that's in my pasture. It's a yard ornament at this point. But, I mean, I'm just being serious. It's, I could get rid of it, but it is only used for construction. It's not, it has no function at the Mini X, the Bobcat, all of that is used consistently around the place, but I've got one trailer that is not. So, and there's an office trailer there too, that I store stuff in now. And my wife's taken over most of
So
that.
this wouldn't be a trailer, but this might get at your truck, that's sitting there doing nothing, but it's solely used for the business. This
Yeah,
might get at
yeah,
that.
that's it, that's what we'd be looking at.
So my truck's okay because I use it for hay, not slowly for business.
Oh yeah, I mean, my flatbed trailer's like, oh, hey, that's,
Every trailer we got.
yeah, every trailer.
Roadworthy or not.
It's in
And so I think
That's a
all those
key
things
word.
are okay, guys, all those things are
Yeah.
okay. This is not a very restrictive thing.
No, it's not.
It's
I
to
just
keep
see
your
that.
grader out of your front
So
yard.
we just
But it
leave that
says
the
are
way
not
it is?
allowed, that's pretty
and deal with it?
restrictive.
I think.
I left it as with a question mark, so when we come down, we can only have 1 or 2 left, because I think we've almost accomplished every one of these through here so far, haven't we? Is there any that we haven't really accomplished except for item 5?
Yeah.
That's the only one thus far that we haven't corrected then.
Struck for.
And we're down to the last few.
We haven't corrected.
Well, I know we've either corrected, but we haven't come to a solution. I think that's the only one we haven't come to a solution on this. We think we.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you wanna move on, come back to that?
Yeah, let's just leave that
Okay.
maybe for next, yeah. I, retail sales are not allowed. So do we have,
I can't think of who we're stepping on with that.
I was just trying to think of, you got June Pies that started out in her house and then now she's in town. She's doing retail,
Doing automotive repairs for these houses, that's a retail sale.
These packs we were talking about with Red Rock,
What about
We
the
already
retail
said
that, introducing
I mean,
But he's hauling them out.
and I think of retail sales as a store where people are coming in that, but I guess there are certainly other applications that are still retail sales.
some people are building stuff to repackage and resell, I mean, that's the retail sale, in my opinion, I would think. If you're collecting sales tax,
What
the
about
point of
Okay,
sale.
I think the thing is here is to have like a 7-Eleven type store or Maverick where,
oh, we want
It has
that.
to be in a commercial
Yeah.
zone. That's
no,
what-
not as a home business, we don't want that.
We'll change the zoning and stuff out like.
We just
Mountain
go.
Dew.
I can't get one there
Sorry,
at Mill Road.
I might be a little
Ford.
late.
No, that, I understand.
We probably should have one at Mill Road.
So let's maybe just axe that one then.
Employees that are not immediately family or that do not reside at the residence are not permitted to report to work at the residence or do work at the residence for the small business.
Did we address that one?
Well, take care of.
Cross it out. Do away with it.
I think we talked about that in the, earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
I thought we did.
Okay, we crossed it out. Number 1, any business associated with motor vehicles such as repair, service, painting, bodywork, detailing, and storing are not allowed.
Okay, so you already got repair.
So I assume that the spirit of this is talking about an auto body shop that's painting and doing all, having all that, I don't think there's one paint booth that they're supposed to have in the town.
But when you get into the whole motor vehicles such as repair, servicing, and servicing, that's huge.
Painting, body work,
Mechanics.
detailing.
But servicing can be described as changing oil, motor work.
Run Right Auto, we had that in the town.
We've already got quite a few of these little shops that are already functioning. And
Probably
they
nothing
already
wrong
went
with
to
a
the county.
detailing shop or with a guy with 1 or 2 cars who wanted detailed, but as far as the business with motor vehicles, it's repair, service.
I think we're back to size again.
Yeah, and I don't think we have any problems with that right now, so maybe let's just bag that.
Okay. 2, large industrial equipment repair, large appliance repair, machine shops and welding shops are not allowed. Same thing, that's under, would that be something that planning would take care of in their application or not?
Probably.
So we're
Yeah,
scratching
I'd
2.
go-
Think so,
go
Eric?
through planning.
Scratch that one as well, or maybe?
I don't know, because we have welding shops working on farm equipment all over. I mean, Blaine Smith.
But that's not a.
He's not a
it's
business,
not a
he
business.
doesn't charge. Maybe he does, some. He
He
could,
Large appliance repair.
but he doesn't have business
Is he
license.
repairing farm equipment?
No, he doesn't.
But
Then
maybe that's a
again,
good business to have.
maybe it's ag and he doesn't think he needs one.
Yeah. Let's axe it then.
Number
Well,
3,
again, what would you like planning to do when they come before us? Is that something that,
well, the large industrial equipment to me kind of speaks to what we were trying to achieve, whether the wording in here is maybe not quite as worded, but
okay,
that large industrial.
so back to the
equipment-
residential character.
residential character, track hose that aren't being used, apartments, all that big equipment is, I think, is what we're, all these are kind of,
Aren't track holes,
Okay.
yard ordinance?
before 1900.
Well, for 1900.
Okay, so we're gonna just strike that again, strike 3, or you wanna discuss it? No, I was gonna
Well,
get
stables,
two.
I mean, we got,
No, I guess
Well,
it's
yeah,
no,
sure,
sure,
right.
right? Yeah, we're on 3.
Yeah, straight through.
Stables, kennels, animal boarding, animal hospital, veterinarian's office, pet grooming, and care are not allowed.
So use 8224 animal kennels, boarding and grooming in RA5 is allowed.
Medical, dental, insurance, and other health care business are, okay, which one did you just read?
That was the animals.
Stables, kennels, animal boarding, animal hospitals, veterinary offices, pet grooming, and care are not allowed.
Right, but in our RA5,
Yeah.
conditional use, animal kennels, boarding and grooming
Is
are allowed.
Scratch that.
So scratch,
Okay. We're gonna
We're gonna change the RA5 zone now.
That's four.
Whether we like, for business,